the suppression of the use of marijuana and of the forces lurking behind it are the most important jobs this department is now engaged in. In 1930, the records on marijuana in the Washington office of the Narcotics Division scarcely filled a small folder like this. Today, they fill cabinets.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Coloradians and everyone that's smart enough to listen from the outside.
It's one of the most amazing plants we've ever discovered.
The pot party, the trippers, the grasshoppers, the hip ones, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a kite.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Stoned Appetit. We're back in the house. As always, I'm your host, Kip Wilson. To the left, I got CB. How are you doing today?
Just dandy. We'll go with dandy, which is
All right.
not great, not bad. It's probably better than Eve's good.
Okay.
So right in there.
Well, let's touch base with old Eve. Eve, how are you today, sister?
So fabulous. Stupendous.
Well, I know it's for at least one reason. She always gets jazzed up about draft day. We've got a great one for y'all today. In honor of the moms in our lives and the moms that helped shape us when our parents were away, we're doing a draft of top TV moms. We've rolled the dice of destiny, and it's going to be a doozy. Also, thanks to the Watts family for reaching out. We appreciate the kind words, and we're sending our love and light to y'all. In addition to draft day, we also have a couple other things we need to talk about. We've been a little radio silent on social media this week, just kind of in our own zone, kind of doing that thing. But it's Mile High Asian Food Week. We touched on it a little bit last week and a little bit at the early part of this week. But we should probably talk a little bit more in detail. Cannabis has been rescheduled to a Schedule III drug, so it sits right along the sides of ketamine and the people that use that for therapy and nay sauce for a good time. And we'll also dive into a little Top Chef as spoiler alerts somewhat, but for the most part, we'll just be glazing our boy Manny, Chef Manny Barria from Denver, who is participating in this year's competition out of Milwaukee. But before we dive into that, let's do an ad read. Our friends over at Bird Call, it's a new month, which means they have a new LTO sandwich, limited time offering. That's right, we've been preaching the praise of the tiki masala and their new Mediterranean bowls. Well, they will be unveiling a new sandwich of the month, as well as the fundraiser that it will be contributing. As I say this, I can tell you that the tiki masala is still on the menu and it still fucking slaps. But as you're listening to this, whether it's May 2nd or May 3rd, you may start to see a transition of the menu. But that's the great thing about Bird Call is you don't go over there for just a plain chicken sandwich. It's not just pickles, cheese, and that's the end of the menu. They have so many customizable options that no matter what tickles your fancy, they've got toppings that will scratch that itch. They've got everything from the kimchi slaw. Hell, they've got 7 types of cheeses, Chris. It's fucking awesome. Hot sauces, normal sauces, their own, barbecue sauce, not the barbecue sauce.
Let's see what they did there.
Yeah, they're cheeky. They're smart. They're real smart. And that's why we're stoked that we work with such innovative people. They launched and hatched right here in Denver, Colorado, and have now grown their brand into 3 states. But you can find a litany of their locations across the metro. And the fun doesn't stop with customizable sandwiches. They also have fire chicken tenders, kids meals that, I know that's more Eve style, just like small little bites, small little meals. They've got kids meals with nuggets, samies, and things, but the salads. As someone who's trying to eat healthy once a fucking week, it's a great way to mix in a salad and then top it with some unhealthy shit like fried chicken, bacon. Or you can get the Mediterranean with like chickpea and a bunch of veggies and herbs. Or you can go the gluttonous route, which is what my favorite way to do it is. You can keep going there every single week and not have the same thing twice. It's like the Sonic drink combinations, but for delicious chicken bites.
And they're open on Sundays.
Yes, they are. And you can order easily, and they do delivery and pickup through the app and website, but they also have the kiosks in-house. So if you go in there, Liddy McTitty, you don't have to worry about talking to somebody or them fucking up your order because it's all in your hands. Chris, you can fuck up your own order. That's how great it is with the kiosk.
I'll do that.
I know you will. But we love working with Bird Call. They are our Sammy of the summer. So shout out to our friends. Location strewn across the Front Range. 5 Points is our go-to location, but they have one inside that Whole Foods. So if you're going in to do buck-a-shuck for Fridays, grab yourself a fried chicken Friday, Sammy. It's a perfect deal. 1-2 punch, you can't be beaten. All right, let's dive into it. First things first, Mile High Asian Food Week. Y'all, 100 locations are participating this year. I mean, I've tried to bip and bop throughout the week and try a couple spots. I went to Cork, the Korean food hall, kind of close. It's in Centennial on the backside, closer to Parker Road. There's so many different fucking options. You can go with just like a mapu bowl. You can get like desserts, ice creams, those fish-like puff pastries that go on the side of a sweet dough. They have dumplings. They have obviously fried chicken. I mean, so much dankness. And the spicy poke nacho bowl that I really enjoyed, as well as they had this tofu pocket, I think is the way we'll describe it. I think I brought them for y'all on Munchie Monday as well. I would like to hear y'all's feedback from the tofu pocket. Eve, if you threw those away, I'm going to hit you with my shoe.
No, they were really, really good.
Oh, yay.
No, I was like surprised. I thought I'd be like, these will be okay. But
What-
actually, I really, really like them.
Can you give a little more?
They were delicious. I don't know what I ate. I don't know what you
think
took.
she-
You took
I
the
think
shrimp.
no, I'm just kidding.
They have a litany of different flavors, like the bulgogi. They had a spicy pork. They have shrimp. They have veggie flavors.
All right. I don't know what did you get though for us?
I
You
got
had shrimp.
bulgogi,
I took the shrimp.
and spicy pork. So you had a beef and a pork.
Yeah, both great.
Hell yeah.
Really good.
Yeah, I heated mine up a little bit in the oven, but there was a little bit of sweetness to that pocket, and it was really good. But the rice in there was cooked great, and like, yeah, you could have a meal of just those. But those dumplings that you brought too, those were really nice.
So yeah, those
They
were
had
the
like a
kimchi.
crust on the outside, kind of.
Yeah, it kind of comes from where they're pan fried,
Yeah.
and then they're steamed first and then fried. So it's kind of like the exterior. I guess it's like
I don't know. It almost looked like something was like coming off of it that had been like kind of almost melted and then seared. It was good though. They were both really nice.
that's one that I wanted to highlight for Mile High Asian Food Week, mainly because it's in a different part of town that we don't always visit or things of that nature. So I thought it'd be kind of fun. In addition to that, where else have I eaten? Oh, I went behind enemy lines at King Rapidos. He's doing a taco inside of so it's like a crepe, a savory crepe tortilla shell, or not tortilla, but but they fry that fucker. And then,
Pronunciation.
yeah, and then he hits it they have 3 different meats. They have a caramelized pork belly, the lemongrass chicken, which is the hit that always, and then they have a shrimp one as well. That's a fun little bite. So if you find yourself around Avanti and you're like, these people are fucking terrible, you can find refuge in that corner stall at fucking Rapidos. Get the crepe tacos. I think it's called Bon Choy tacos. I think I got
Are you
that.
really saying that word like that, or are you just being funny?
Just
It's like,
fucking around.
okay.
No,
I
he
can
does.
tell.
Come
Crepes?
on, he's not fucking around. Okay, one spot I'm gonna hit up this week because Steph hasn't been. I'm gonna take her down to Mock Fam.
Oh, dude, y'all are gonna love
Little
it.
like maybe should I hit it up like they have a happy hour, right?
They do.
Yeah. So maybe we're gonna do that like a little Friday night, early evening date night. Try some samples.
There
Get
you
her
go.
out there.
The Jiangbin is fucking awesome. I nailed that at. So y'all can suck it with my pronunciations. Where else have I eaten for the holiday? I think that's it. Oh, Konu's Corner, right down the street from. If y'all looking for banh mi in the Highlands area, they've changed it up. They went over there. They did some research over there. They figured out how to get their bread proper. And so, if you're looking for one, their barbecue pork banh mi over there is solid.
Yeah, I want to give that place another shot. My first experience there, like I don't know.
Didn't do it for you?
No, like the bread, like you said, the sandwich bread and stuff is off the charts. My feelings were a little lackluster, but I'm willing to give it another shot because it's family owned, it's sitting right there on the corner down from my house, so I need to get back there.
Yeah, you definitely should. I think it's definitely, we give everybody a couple tries, could have been just an off day, as they
Yeah.
say, All right, so I think that kind of covers where we've tackled. There's, the events go through May 4th, so check them out. Next up on the docket, cannabis has been rescheduled, which means
Is it confirmed? I just saw like where
Yeah, the
there's
DEA has recommended it. Of
Okay.
course, there's legislation that will go about it. I don't know. The Democrats could fuck up a wet dream. They're going to find a way to let Orange Man get back into the competition here this autumn. So, and they've been dangling this carrot for years. So I have zero faith in your party and zero faith in any party that could come in. And the independents, there's none of them in office. So it's not like anyone's actually there to carry our water. So you're right. It could easily be fucked up before the legislation goes through in September. But fingers crossed, everything goes copacetic.
You know what's crazy too is like, banks have powerful lobbyists. Like, why would they not want this? It just makes it that much better for banks because they can do business easier and.
Well, that's a different beast. So, but yes, what the rescheduling will do will open up the opportunity for things like safe banking. It'll also create the opportunity for folks like Nancy Mace and fucking Chuck Schumer. That guy's a fucking cheese dick. Yeah. But all the same, he has been trying to campaign to get it earmarked in there for either descheduling, which is the ultimate goal. Descheduling means that folks would promptly get out of jail because right now people are still going to jail and are in prison for it, and they'll continue to be in there because, speaking of fucking lobbyists and industries that should have gone under, the privatized prison system definitely wants cannabis to remain illegal. So you'll still see people being combative in that aspect, but we are starting to see, any movement forward is a positive step, but I wouldn't hold my breath for anything that, it seems for 4 years we've talked about this. Yeah. And now as they're like, how can we, curry favor with the young population? Oh, let's finally legalize cannabis, but not actually legalizing it, but just rescheduling it down to a lesser degree. So it sits next to our nay sauce. Either way, I mean, I just get pissed off talking about legislation from a local perspective all the way up. So we need to get Ian Sieb on the podcast to talk about actual things going on and like what the issues are, because we just saw Dwayne and Tetra, after 6 fucking years, finally got their license and permit to open the doors at Tetra legally as a consumption lounge, and we're starting, more and more of them are popping up around the country. Damn it, Eve, I'm on my soapbox. You ruined it. But we need to get somebody from inside, the calls are coming from inside the house. We need to talk about why there's actually very little progress on all of the cannabis fronts, because it is mildly infuriating.
And what's sad is like they hide behind this kind of cloak of like equity and inclusion in this process. But if they really wanted to be equitable, they would have had this license to Tetra and them years ago. Like they're preventing the whole equity aspect of cannabis in Colorado by tying everything up in loopholes. So nobody's winning.
I couldn't agree more. And that's just the name of, and welcome to politics. Like we've tried to work, with our friends like Groovy Gravy, Dwayne, some others in the industry. We've had Shannon Donnelly on the podcast. But it seems like every time we have a conversation with someone, they're in the back, they're just like, this is never going to work. They're like, let these people crash and burn. So it's like, well, go fuck yourself. And so it's just exhausting thinking about it. And I can't wait to plan my exit strategy from this whole country's politics. Soon enough, we won't have to hear about anything else. Just got to get to the 3rd week of November. But speaking of TV and shows that I will muster through a lot of commercials for, Chris, you're caught up on Top Chef?
Yeah.
Dude, shout out to Manny. It's been a great season.
It is. But like the funny thing is like watching it, it's hard not to think about like, okay, they aren't judging you on anything you did in previous episodes. Like you could have won, 6 elimination challenges, but then if you don't perform that day, you can be fucked.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about it. So like looking at it, on any given day, anyone can go out. But I do have a couple of favorites.
Who do you like?
I like Michelle.
From Houston?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think what's great about her is, number one, she comes from a barbecue perspective, or barbecue, pit master, but she knows how to cook and she doesn't overthink a lot of things. Like, I think she needs to have a little more confidence in herself, but when she goes with food that she knows, she's won a couple competitions.
Yeah.
And she's done so with like good good comments. Like, I don't know. I think some of the chefs get caught up in like trying to do this crazy shit, and somewhere some things get lost. And so, like, I don't know. I think she's got a good strategy. Just cook her food. And that's what Manny's doing, you know? Like, he's cooking the food that he knows, and that's why he's been doing so well.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. You know, like, let your personality come through on the plate, I think is the best way to describe it. And so they're doing exactly that. And we won't talk spoilers, but Tom Colicchia is a great follow on Twitter. And while, like, he's just, like, we were just talking politics, he gets very deep into politics. And I love that he's burying them. Like, he's just burying the people that are like, oh, January 6th was just a tour visit. And it's like, shut up, white trash. Like, this is not true. But he was talking about last week's elimination, and we won't do spoilers. And he was like, well, it's simple. That person had the worst dish. And it was like, nothing leading up to this matters in this course. Like, you can win the quick fire challenge in the first part of the episode and be going home in the afternoon. Like, we literally saw that a couple episodes ago with my New Orleans native, you know? So I love that it's very impartial. They don't ever play favorites. And Kristen's fucking killing it as the host. I know Eve's a big fan of her. She was talking about it pre-show. I mean, I thought it's been a great season thus far. And who'd have thunk it? The people watching of Milwaukee has been so much fun.
Wisconsin seems kind of cool.
I can't
I
wait to
would have
go
never
in
thought
August.
of that.
I'm going up to Minnesota and Wisconsin in August to do a little gallivanting.
Yeah.
I can't wait to check out the urban scene of that, and then also, or the urban scene of Minnesota, and then go to the rural areas of Wisconsin. So it's gonna be pretty cool.
Yeah, so I will say, like, and it's funny, in the last episode, I think I've never heard Tom give such a glowing comment to the winner of the elimination challenge, saying, like, that's one of the best dishes I've had in 21 years, which that has to be a huge ego boost. But I will say, in last week's episode, fucking that little, you know, when Matheson was on there and they had to do chaos, the funnel cake that the home dude representing Wisconsin, I think his name's Dan, with just fish and shit on it, I would fuck that up. That looked so goddamn good.
He seems to, and you know, we've seen success. Like, you're good friends with Kelsey, who won Kentucky, but she's from Alabama. And it seems like if you can kind of play to the audience a little bit, and Dan is doing well with that. I think Sue will do well with that coming out of Chicago. But like, it's Midwest, you know, like, we joke about casserole country on a fucking daily basis on this podcast. Like, they're playing, you know, play to your audience, you know, like when it's time to elevate, like for when Buddha is coming through, or you have some world renowns. But if you're like going to the Milwaukee, I think they're maybe at the baseball stadium this week or something. I can't remember.
Oh yeah.
I feel like they were walking. Yeah, they were walking into a stadium or something. It's like, that means you're gonna be serving multiple people. Play something that you know this audience is gonna love. Shit with mayonnaise, like ground beef. You know, things that the Midwest fucking love. They eat like raw ground beef up there and pretend like it's like Midwest tartare. It's great.
Those ones are always fun when they have to serve a shit ton of people, because that's where some of the like overthinkers and like precise ones really fuck up, because they don't think about like, okay, what do people want just to bite into, something you can serve to the masses. And that's where some of those like big guns that you think are gonna make waves, that's where they fuck up and lose.
Well, I'm actively cheering for Chef Manny, so while Chris has picked his favorite, I'm gonna pick the local boy, and we'll see who can go further. But we'll also have some Top Chef alum join the pod to chat a little bit about that, and some fun things coming down the pike this summer. So we'll start teasing that as we start to plan out those future episodes. All right, so it's time to get into what we're all here for. It's MILFs, y'all. It's MILF season. Isn't that the theme? No, just TV moms, right?
Good TV mothers.
All right, so it's the ones that kind of helped mold our youth, or those that maybe you saw your mother in, or one that you wouldn't, like if you had to be in a TV show, you'd want them to be your mom. Whatever criteria you want to use, it's totally fine. This draft is presented by our friends over at Bird Call. Moms always take care of dinners at our house, and fried chicken was a staple. That's where the love started in our home, and it continues to this day. While my mom may be 2,000 miles away, I know that we both bond over fried chicken, so I'll be sending her pictures of my bird call run on this Fried Chicken Friday. All right, we've already done the Die of Destiny. Eve, give us the rules and the draft order for today.
Okay, well, I'm taking it as the best moms on TV. So like good moms. That not because it could be there's a lot of bad moms that were like fun to watch, but I'm doing it as like good mothers on television. Does that make sense, Chris? You look confused.
Chris always looks confused. He just kind of has resting dumb face.
Oh,
It's how I sneak under the radar and say really insightful shit, and people don't
Gotcha.
expect
He
it.
does have a laundry list
But-
of moms on this.
But hold on,
Yes.
but good moms, what are
Yeah.
the parameters for a good
well,
mom?
you'll have to defend it. If you pick a mom that we think is
Yeah, you
bad,
have
we'll
to
talk
defend
about it.
You're
But
gonna
just
have,
like
you're gonna have to give your reason why
Okay,
you picked
okay.
it.
someone's like you know, it's like oh, I like that mom. You
Like
know,
if you
kind
pick
of like
Kirsten Cohen, who cheated on her partner, but finally welcomed Ryan into the family, you'd have to talk about that second part more so than when she slept with the general contractor while Sandy was out working. But I mean, that's a
Yeah.
whole thing. We'll talk about that and more in this draft.
Let's go.
All right,
okay,
so what's
it's
the
me,
order?
Chris, and then you, Kip.
What the fuck? Die of Destiny, you failed me again.
Okay. So my first one, I'm gonna do Kitty Foreman from that '70s show.
Damn it! I didn't know how far she. All right, that's a
You
great.
thought she was on your list?
She was on my list. But I
She
didn't
was
know.
on mine.
See, and this is where we may start eating our own early.
What do you love about Kitty?
Yeah, her laugh is great. And she's just a sweet mom. She's always cooking stuff. I feel like
She-
she's really supportive. She just loves her kids. She deals with
She
Red.
takes care of the other kids.
Yeah, she's like a mom to all of
and
them.
what she did for the guy that ended up being a real pervert, jackass, sexual assaulter, one of the younger Weinsteins, the curly-haired guy.
that
Right.
curly-headed fuck.
Yeah, the curly-headed fuck was also kind of an orphan, so she always helped him and stuff.
Right. He wasn't a perv on the show, just to clarify. That wasn't a storyline. That was real life.
Yeah, everybody,
No, but he probably was a perv
Why'd you have to ruin
while
that '70s
being
show?
on
I'm
the
trying to talk
show.
about this sweet mom, and you have to bring up that perv.
because she brought him in and like
But you make
treated. She was really, and her daughter was a slut, and she still loved her unconditionally.
Right, but you're making it sound like, oh, she kept
Oh,
the
no.
rapist in the house. Like,
I think everybody
separate that from
knows.
real life, please.
Everybody knows. You're okay.
I know, but you're making it sound like that. He wasn't that on the show, but yes, he's a bad
He's already
dude.
getting rattled. She thinks you're going to influence people's votes.
No. It's just you're talking weird. You're talking bad along with Kitty Foreman, and she's to be protected at all costs because she's just sweet. And she was on both your lists, so obviously you agree with me.
Yeah, I mean, I have every right to try to submarine picks that were taken before me, just to make myself feel a little better, Clay. He got CB.
I'm going to go. Now, the show may be somewhat controversial due to later things, but
Oh boy.
Claire Huxtable.
Oh, damn it! She was on my list.
She
Damn
was smart. She was sweet.
Helped with the kids, helped with the house, while
but she
maintaining
was
a-
like
a
an
career.
accomplished mom who,
Yeah, she was an attorney.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a great one. She's on. I think she's a top 5 on everyone's list. I'd say we probably watched The Cosby Show like every afternoon. It was just in that series of shows that was on TBS after school. And I mean, she was heartfelt. She was warm. She was comforting. Everything you look for in a mom. That's a great pick. And yes, there is a trend I noticed with y'all's picks that I guess Eve doesn't want me to talk about. But she was married to a serial sexually assaulter in the show.
Who sucks.
Yeah, but at the same time, both of those two were in my top 5. So now I'm having to kind of work my way down. But thanks to the snake draft, I get 2 back to back. So the first one I'm going to pick is Jill Taylor from Home Improvement.
Classic.
I
Fair.
think she knocked it out of the park. Mainly the reason I'm picking her is because I was a boy, one of 3 boys in a chaotic household, and I just felt bad, like for my mom. Looking back, I still feel bad for how my mom had to like deal with us all the time, and how she did it. But she really had 4 kids because Tim was kind
Right,
of a
Tim.
tool
Yep.
and a child, and then his work schedule was different. But it was eerily similar to how we grew up. So we just saw a lot of that family in our family. We're not handy at all, But Jill Taylor, she took it in stride. She had fun with the boys. You know, she did really well with like making costumes for Halloween. And when Brad was smoking pot and had that shitty haircut.
God, I remember that haircut.
God,
Fuck, he was a bad dude too. You know that, right?
I didn't, but
He's
only
just so bad shit.
Is that JTT?
No.
No, the
No.
other
the
one,
oldest
the oldest.
Yeah, with the stupid half ponytail.
Yeah.
I remember.
And then the youngest one was a goth towards the
Right,
end.
Mark.
And she loved them all unconditionally.
Yeah, Mark was
somewhat.
kind of the nerdy one, but she helped
nerdy.
him out. And
Yeah,
then
he was my least
his
favorite.
later years, he did get a little bit strange.
He was a little emo, but she still was there for him. And it just reflected a lot of the Wilsons growing up. So that was
Which
my
kid
first.
were you, Kip?
I was the middle child, so I will pretend that I was
You were-
JTT. But we were all, the best part was
You were Brad.
I was Scott.
No,
my older
I don't
brother
know.
was kind of Brad too. He was
Didn't you get a little emo? Didn't you
I
have
was,
a couple?
I think I was about to say I have a little bit of all of them. I think like I was the nicest. Like I was the easiest child by my kids' standards by my parents. You ask them. I was an easy baby,
will.
an easy child. But yeah, I had a little emo stage. I definitely tried drugs a few times and had shitty haircuts as well. So but that's kind of like what it was. It was kind of a cliche character, and we all had a little bit of them. So Jill Taylor's my number one. And my second one, the reason I brought out your pedophile, Eve, was because I had a special place in my heart for Kitty Foreman because she took in some, she didn't have to, but she did. And another mom that did that and always held a house together was Aunt Viv, a.k.a. Vivian Banks from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
God damn it.
Okay.
She had 3 kids of her own, and Hillary, the narcissist, Carlton, who was maybe had a little Asperger's, but
Just, yeah, wherever he was.
not really Asperger's, but had a little social awkwardness. And then Ashley, the youngest, but then brought a 4th one in while dealing with her husband, who maybe either worked a lot or, he was kind of like a type A type person. She was able to kind of handle the whole circus in stride. And if y'all aren't seeing a trend in how I picked my moms, it was that I grew up in a circus household. And I had 2 moms. So like it helped in that aspect. Like you needed a little bit, we had zone coverage, a lot of parental assistance. So being able to tame a house of kids is really hard to do. And to bring one in when they need help from across the country and may go against everything of your way of life now, but finding that comfortability, I loved Aunt Viv. And I think Fresh Prince was a show that we all grew up on, and so it was just a great show. And she was a great mom.
Dude, that's what I realized when I was starting to like write down a list of moms that I loved from TV. Like black TV shows when we were growing up were great. Like I mean, I don't know really what the TV show game is this generation for kids.
Theory?
No, but
Young
I mean,
Sheldon?
like there was just some prominent TV shows when we were growing up that had great like.
See, and the weird thing is, and the internet may be part of this stigma, but I didn't think of it as, oh, this is a black
No,
family
neither did
TV show.
I.
I was just like, oh, Will Smith dances funny. Jazz gets thrown out of the front of the house. Uncle Phil's really serious, and Aunt Viv as sweet as can be. And Carlton's dance, like I didn't see it as that, but no, I agree wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
Like, I don't
obviously
know
I'm-
the paradigm of television shows, but I guess Chris, y'all just saw color earlier than we did in we're not from Alabama.
Oh
I don't
my
get it.
God, fucking Christ! That's not what I was saying.
I know, but I agree, and I don't even know if they do the kind of family-style sitcoms anymore. I don't want to tip picks.
That's
because there's
what's wrong with this country is we've lost that fabric of family through the TV in the afternoon.
those were the
Okay. So is it my turn?
Nope.
No, Eve.
Oh,
Hold your
fuck.
horses.
It's not?
No, that's
No.
what happens when you
Damn
pick
it.
first.
You get
I'm
2
scared.
this time though.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll get the
I'm
snake.
scared mine's gonna be taken.
Well, it's only Chris, so I imagine he biffs
True.
it right.
All right,
He'll be like the mom in Psycho.
I'm gonna.
She's the best.
That's a sub. That's an alternate on my list.
Honorable mention.
So yeah, shout out. So
Mother.
I'm gonna skip forward a little bit because I want to make sure I get this mom out on this list. Claire Dunphy.
Oh, that's why I didn't want to tip picks. That's a good call.
Because, I
Fair.
mean, if there was ever a mom who had to deal with just, Well,
That's
obviously,
another family of 3 kids, but 4 kids.
Yes.
Because of Phil. That's a great pick. I think that's one of
Yeah.
the ones I didn't want to tip picks for because I was saying, oh, there's some new coming of age, but it also kind of goes through her relationship with her brother, her father, and her mother. So it shows kind of that whole paradigm
Yeah.
of where she gets her little neurotic tendencies, her father, and why she has, like it kind of the character evolved a little bit more than what we saw of 90s television. You hadn't fucked it up yet, Chris. That's really
Eve,
good.
do you have something against Modern Family?
No, it's good.
Okay.
All right, so Eve, you now have 2 picks.
Okay. I'm gonna do Linda Belcher from Bob's Burgers.
Okay, that's fair. I'm not a Bob's Burger. I've
Yeah,
seen the
me
episodes,
either.
but I'm not like a religious follower.
She's great.
Okay.
I think
So-
I think that's gonna come back to bite you. But go on.
I think it's actually going to play into that stoner audience that's voting on the socials.
And I kind of want to pick one because I think you guys will pick her, but then
That's so fucked.
I
Yeah,
know, but
you got to pick ones you like, not because you think
Are
we're
you
gonna-
pandering right here in the 3rd? You're
No.
pandering after 6?
no. I
right.
just mean I'm trying
She's
to
being
maybe steal from
strategic?
you
You're
a
being
little bit.
strategic?
Yeah, because I'm trying to think. I don't think you'll think of some of the other ones I have.
That's true. You're going deeper in that cup.
Okay, I'm gonna do Reba.
Oh!
I wasn't gonna pick Reba McEntire.
I had her
I
on-
love Reba McEntire, but I've never
It's-
really watched that show.
It's been a while, but I thought about it. She's like a sassy mom. She has to deal with her idiot ex-husband, and I think she's like a pregnant teen daughter, and she's like the type of mom you could like tell anything to, and
Fancy
she'd
was her name.
give it to you straight. It's Reba.
I don't
Come
hate
on.
that one. I mean, that's a true 90s, early 2000 one right there. That's not a bad
I thought
one.
Reba did.
I think she's done another show since then, maybe.
Okay, because I don't remember. I never watched her show.
I mean, I think that was like on the CW or something.
I
Too.
think
I don't
early
know,
on.
or was it ABC? No, I think it was like CW. It was one of those.
Yeah, because in the
random
90s,
shows.
she was just banging out hits on CMT. She wasn't.
Yeah, it might have been early 2000s.
Yeah.
Either way,
Yeah.
that's a great call. That's
Was
a
she on
good
your
one.
list or no?
It was a little lower. She was in my alternate list.
Okay.
So, but the Bob's Burger one, I didn't watch it religiously, but I like how you dipped into the cartoon universe there. That may really help. And it makes you kind of think a little bit deeper about it. Chris, it's now going to go back to you.
All right. I am going to go with.
Don't worry, we'll cut this dead air.
I'm going to go with Harriet Winslow.
Oh, shit. From Family Matters?
I mean, she was a rule setter. Like, she didn't always put up with Urkel's shit. I don't know. I thought she had a strong presence on the show. And I mean, I grew up watching Family Matters.
I like where your head's at on that one. I didn't have her on my list. She really was a sweetheart, and her mom was also in the show, I believe. I just can't remember like the.
But there were a
stage
couple
presence
phrases
as
she would say, like, to what's his name, Carl Winslow. Yeah, she would bust his balls a lot.
That's a good call, and one that definitely shaped our youth. It's now my turn, and this is probably where I win the draft, if that's cool with y'all. We're gonna start with Tammy Taylor from Friday
You
Night
fuck.
Lights.
I knew that was coming. I knew
Damn,
Friday
I almost
night.
said her. I almost said her last
Coach
time.
Eric Taylor had a very interesting dynamic with his job, switching schools. And that's what Texas football is about. She had to play a game that she had zero business in wanting to do. She had a great job at the school where she almost had to become mom for a lot more than just her own kids. And she really did. She had to help with folks like Saracen. She had to help with folks like, Riggs? Yeah. She had to help with all, and then her daughter also was kind of in that same camp.
I
And
hate
so-
her daughter. What a bland piece of
I thought you
garbage.
were gonna say something much worse than that, Eve,
Yeah.
you pussy. I thought you had a hard word in there.
Eve's mom's listening.
sorry, I didn't mean to call you that.
Yeah, but
I
no,
did though. I
she-
thought you were gonna use a hard word, but she did. She had to juggle being like, and she didn't have. She was also an administrator at the school, but it was like to see some like your work and everything you do kind of always be put on the side burner and to continue to carry yourself with grace and have patience with all these white trash families that talk shit about your family. Like, I don't know how coaches of Texas football actually exist because I'm sure it's just terrible. Turning into a radio show, like if you don't win, then your husband deserves to be fired. Like, She just handled herself with such grace throughout the show. I loved her. And despite all the turmoil of East Dillon, dealing with other parents and seeing how they handle their kids, I thought she was a great mom. So shout out to Tammy Taylor. She was really a mom to 58, not just to one. So that's not where I win it though. I win it right here. It's Marge Simpson. Her husband's fucking stupid.
I knew you were going to throw that in there.
Her mom is fucking, or her husband's fucking stupid. Her kid is, one of them is a deviant, one's a suck up, and one of them is a murderer. Shout out, spoiler alert, to season 24. Remember?
Wait, the baby? Maggie's a murderer?
Shot Mr. Burns.
Oh, right.
But either way,
Whatever.
her husband was quite literally the dumbest man on the planet, but she held him with such grace. He must have had a wrench because there's no reason for her to be sticking around. And she raised one great kid. Bart's one of those kids that maybe would have succeeded at technical school or something of that nature rather than actually being in one of these schools where he wasn't able to thrive. But it seems like she had a good head on her shoulders, a lot of patience, and again, it falls right back into that theme of my first two picks of having deviant children and keeping your composure the best you can and keeping a house afloat. So shout out to Marge Simpson. I'll take home, I think that's gonna pretty much win it for me. But if we do a fifth round, I've got one that should just finish everybody off. We're going 5 rounds, so give yourself a little breathing room. Your sleeper can go in the 5th.
Okay.
Who are you going with your 4th?
I'm going to go with Estella Costanza, George's mom.
That's a great one.
But I mean,
That's
like
just
why
funny.
on earth would you want her as your mom? But just the fact of for all those kids who love their moms and sometimes they can be a bit overbearing, she embodies all of that. And just the constant beef and struggle to get her out of life, it's just great. And her whole demeanor and funniness.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to have a good old person one, but that's a really good old person one.
Go ahead.
You don't have to go again?
No,
you don't get
I'm
to?
in the middle.
Do I do 2 now?
Yeah, you sandwich it. You got your second to last
Okay.
and last.
I should have done Tammy. She was on my list. It was either Tammy or Reba. Damn.
I bet you feel bad now.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Tammy Taylor's.
Yeah, Tammy way over Reba.
I can't believe you picked Reba over Tammy. Because if you had said Tammy Taylor, I probably would have thrown my vape pen at the wall and been like, fuck.
See, I would have put that just because I know of that, but I had no connection to the show, so I would have been.
I respect that because
Yeah.
Chris could have
Yeah.
pandered.
Okay, I'm going to do Lorelai Gilmore.
I was wondering if you were going to pick the Gilmore Girl mom.
See, that's what I didn't go with on that one. I had her right there.
Yeah.
You
But did you
left
watch the show or no?
No, I didn't. That's
I mean, you
why I
could still
chose
take-
not to
yeah.
do it. But I know that has a cult fucking following. So
Yeah.
that
You
could
could've
push
that could-
Eve over the top.
That could have
Maybe.
pushed, that really may. And that's a good deep round pick. It's up there with Marge. Okay, so this will be your
I'm
fifth.
Fine.
stuck. I don't know between these.
I'm safe. I have 3 options left, and I don't think y'all are going to have all 3. And they're all shows I actually watched, so I can speak eloquently to them.
Okay, I guess I'll just go for it. Why not? I'm going to do Fran Fine from The Nanny.
That's fair.
Because
Okay.
she was their mom. I
Fran
think that
Drescher.
counts. That counts.
Okay.
Did you watch that show? No.
Who was the actress?
Fran
Drescher.
Dresser. Sorry, dressing. Sorry.
Not a big Fran Drescher fan.
I'll give you that one. That's not a bad one. Chris, what's your last pick going to be?
I'm gonna go with Carmela Soprano. When you're watching the show, you may not view her. You kind of view her as annoying and whatnot, but I mean, she was a mob boss wife, and she held it together. She dealt with some unruly kids, but I mean, as far as mob moms go, she did pretty damn good for herself. And she
You won't hear me complain about
Yeah.
her. I thought she was a great mom. Obviously, she fancied the Italian stallion and possibly the preacher or the pastor as well. But at the same time, her
she
husband
needed an
was,
outlet.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, her kids sucked. Talking about people that sucked. The son the only time he was ever enjoyable was that time he got his face glued to the carpet. Every other time, I just hated his on-screen presence. And Meadow, as she got older, she reminds me a lot of the Columbia students that were camping out on that building asking for humanitarian aid this week. Like the most obtuse, like read the room, you don't understand shit concept ever. That's exactly how I felt about Meadow in real time at that time. So she really did. She had a lot on her plate, and she carried herself well and with dignity.
And she could cook.
Yeah, she had those Italiano recipes down. Yeah, I liked it. And her fit was real strong. Mob ball chic is very in right now, from what I've been told. But either way, great call. All right, so for my last one, I want y'all to help me pick.
No.
Okay, fine.
Well, yeah, that's
I
not
didn't
how
get help.
this works.
All right, then I'm going with Carol Brady.
Okay.
See, I had her on
Whatever.
my list, and like, yeah.
She adopted, or she took in 3 kids that weren't hers, and she had 3 of her own. And then they brought in fucking Oliver, that little kid in the later seasons. Shout out to Florence. She was a fucking, she was a babe too. Like she put
Shout
out
out to the
3,
help.
she had 3 hot ladies, come out of her. And, I mean, she was fit at like 40 and married an
Okay.
architect, and they had 6 kids under one roof. Shout out to Carol Brady. Alice was there a lot.
She knew what was
Alice-
getting into, though. She married the guy with the kids.
Yeah,
So
she
it's
had
not like
the-
it was a surprise, like Hyde on that 70s
that's
show.
true.
So.
But also, though,
I forgot his name.
how can you fight love, Eve? Like, what if
If you have 3
met
kids,
the person of
I
your
can find it real
dreams?
strong.
What if you met the person of your dreams and you fall in love with them, and all of a sudden they're like, oh,
I have 3 devilish boys. That's what my stepmom came
Okay,
into.
first of all, I'd be like, why the fuck didn't you tell me on our first date? So it's like, it'd
and
be
then
a
she would
strike.
be like, or he or she would be like, and I was a little bit worried that you might react that way, and so I wanted you to get to know me.
I'd be like,
and not
cool,
the
thanks for
baggage."
wasting my time.
I'm
Thanks for
sure
fucking with me.
If it was
So
this,
Goodbye.
you just hate children?
I find them obnoxious, gross, all sorts of things. Loud. The fact
So you
that
see
they-
yourself in them?
Yes, I see a lot of myself in children. I don't need to take care of one myself.
Right.
I'm cool. I'm just trying to take care of me right now, and that's even a fucking
Okay.
struggle. But Carol was a trooper.
Sure.
She obviously didn't have to do as much of the home ec stuff as Alice was there, but she still had to fucking deal with 6, eventually 7 kids, and make sure that they grew up with proper ethos and respect.
Okay.
So Carol Brady is my 5th pick and the final
Gotcha.
one.
So what would you think about,
6 kids sounds fucking awesome.
so I didn't put this in because I technically guess she's a good mom, but she's a little rough. The mom from Malcolm in the Middle,
Lois.
Lois, which you
That one is that was in my honorable mentions. I was
Okay.
between her and Carol Brady because she had one in military school. We also had one in military school, and her house was just like
chaos for
And
sure.
I felt bad.
I felt for her. Yeah, she had little demon children.
Yeah, her kids were like, "You want to turn the washing machine into something like a bomb?" And like that one, it kind of made you like, oh, like it made me feel worse for my mom. And I can't even say that she handled it with grace. She had like she would like blow the top off every episode, be like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
But at the same time, it doesn't make her a bad mom. She obviously loved, and
No.
every time her kids got into a spat with another family, she'd beat the other mom's ass.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she was a mama bear.
yeah.
She was true mama grizzly right there.
Yeah.
She was like, I can fuck with mines, but you can't fuck with mines. So Lois was on my short list. So
That
was
was on mine.
so was Marie from Everybody Loves Raymond, but it felt like she was a little too obnoxious on
Yeah.
how close she was. But I loved her on the show, and like she loved her sons, and she would have done anything for them, include
Too
cook for
much.
Ray every day and let Robbie live in the basement.
I had
Yeah.
Carol Lambert from Step by Step.
Oh, there you go.
She was
That's a
great.
house of fucking chaos too.
Yeah, because you had that tall ogre idiot guy. who's like,
Cody.
yeah, I don't even know really.
Why
Was
do
he
I know
part-
this shit?
I don't know. You're good with
He
names.
parked
today.
his
I
van
forget
in
his
the-
name, but like, was he really part of the family?
He was
or
a cousin or something.
Yeah.
From somewhere. But yeah, that's a good call because they both had a fuck ton of kids.
I wrote in Roseanne.
Yeah, I had Roseanne almost, but
That's another man. All the people we loved in the '90s acting.
It's not.
They-
It hasn't aged as bad as Nickelodeon, but it's pretty close.
I mean, there's at least somebody on the cast that didn't do something
Yeah.
right.
I
Just
mean,
a-
that's Hollywood for you, right? I also had. Let me see. Joan Cleaver from Leave It to Beaver. Did anybody watch that?
No, not really.
And then Julia Louis-Dreyfus from Veep.
So
She was not a good mom.
I thought it would be fun to be like, she was a terrible mom.
I
She
thought about
was.
doing that, but there wasn't
was just
really
so
much
fun.
mom there, but she was
That's true.
hilarious with her
It's.
daughter.
I still think it's a top 3 sitcom of all time.
Veep was so good.
Lucille Ball, or excuse me, Bluth. Lucille Bluth.
I thought of her for a second, but I'm like,
She's
is
in
she a
that
good
same.
mom though?
She's in the same
really?
Veep category
Yeah,
of like
yeah.
narcissistic and doesn't
Yeah,
actually
not really great.
like her kids turned out okay in spite of her. You know, more
Yeah.
so than
That's a lenient way to put it.
yeah.
Like, okay.
But yeah, some of them.
Some
and
of
the
'em,
rest
yeah.
of it. But those were my honorable mentions. Were there any that you kind of wish you could take back or switch out? Obviously, Reba.
Yeah, I probably would have done Tammy. I almost did Hilda and Zelda from Sabrina.
Oh, that's
Because they
a
were
good.
her moms, essentially.
Yeah, they were aunts.
Sabrina,
Aunts,
the Teenage Witch.
Yeah.
With Melissa Joan Hart.
Yeah.
That was a great show.
And I liked them. I liked both of them when I watched it.
Chris, how do you feel you did today?
I don't know. I mean, like, I picked my favorites, so I really don't give a shit what anybody
Okay.
else thinks. I feel better. I feel better knowing that I didn't pick Reba.
I think some people are gonna like that. That show was on for a while.
Yeah, we
And
have a lot of
love
Southern
Reba.
followers.
I know you're acting like
I don't
she's
not
still got
like
fans.
Reba.
I don't know.
I
Just throwing a
love
little
Reba.
shade. Throw a little shade at Reba.
Okay, well, I think that one went pretty well. Obviously, use this as a subtle reminder to get your flower orders in. Mother's Day is next Sunday, May 13th, I believe. Isn't that correct?
12th? Is it on the 13th?
Maybe it's the 12th. 12th.
It's
May
a
12th.
Sunday,
Yeah,
you're
sorry.
right,
I
though.
got it wrong.
Next weekend.
Next weekend.
weekend.
So get your orders in. If your mom lives in another state, maybe back home, get those orders in for local flowers. Get your card in the mail. And then next week, we'll get back on the regular scheduled content of Best Things We Ate. We'll recap Chris's Michelin dining experiences in California. We'll talk about places maybe that are hidden in the foothills of Colorado that you need to be hitting up. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Sterned Appetit. Until next week, stay high, stay hungry.
It's the Brady Bunch.
Cheers.